What nobody tells you about starting over. Starting over is one of the bravest things a person can do, and one of the loneliest. Because the world celebrates arrivals, the finished degree, the launched business, the reached goal. But nobody talks about the in-between. The moment you walk away from something familiar and step into something that hasn't taken shape yet. That space between the old and the new is where most people turn back. Not because they can't do it, but because it feels like nothing is working. Because progress is invisible. Because doubt is loud. Because people around you don't understand why you left what looked perfectly fine from the outside. And in that silence, starting over can feel like failure. But it's not. Starting over is not going backwards. It's choosing yourself over the comfort of staying somewhere you've already outgrown. That takes more courage than most people will ever know. So what do you need to understand when you find yourself starting over? The first thing is this. The discomfort you feel is not a sign you made the wrong choice. It's a sign you made a real one. Real choices cost something. Comfort, certainty, other people's approval. If starting over felt easy, it probably wasn't a real change. It was just rearranging the furniture in the same room. Real transformation is uncomfortable by nature. The discomfort is the process working, not evidence that you're failing. The second thing is that starting over rarely looks the way you imagined. Most people picture a clean, fresh start, a clear path, a new chapter opening smoothly. But real starting over is messy. It involves grief for what you left behind, even when you chose to leave it. It involves days where the new thing feels impossibly far. It involves rebuilding identity in the absence of the titles and roles that used to tell you who you were. Give yourself permission to be in that messiness without immediately trying to fix it. The third thing is that starting over requires you to grieve before you grow. This is the part people skip. They want to rush to the new, to the momentum, to the results. But beneath every real starting over, there is something being released. A relationship, a version of yourself, a dream that didn't work out. That release deserves acknowledgement, not weeks of paralysis, but honest recognition that something real is ending, so something real can begin. Grief and growth are not opposites. They are partners. The fourth thing is that you will have to rebuild trust with yourself. Because often when we start over, it's after a period of ignoring our own instincts, staying too long, settling for less, choosing safety over truth. And that erodes self-trust. So part of starting over is making small promises to yourself and keeping them. Not grand declarations, just daily honest commitments. I will show up today. I will take one step. I will choose myself in this small moment. Each kept promise rebuilds the foundation, and slowly you remember that you can trust yourself again. The fifth thing is that starting over is not something you announce. It's something you do quietly, in private decisions, in daily discipline, in choosing the new direction even when the results aren't visible yet, especially when the results aren't visible yet. Because the most important work always happens before anyone can see it. The seed underground before the shoot appears. The foundation being laid before the walls rise. The person changing in private before the world notices anything different. Trust the invisible work. It's the most real work there is. And finally, starting over at any age, at any stage, from any circumstance, is not a sign that you failed. It's a sign that you are paying attention. That you are honest enough to admit when something isn't working, that you value your one life too much to keep living it on autopilot. Most people never start over, not because their lives are perfect, but because the fear of the unknown feels bigger than the pain of the familiar. You choosing to start over, choosing to rebuild, choosing yourself, that is not weakness. That is the definition of being awake. Keep going. The new chapter is already being written, one quiet, honest day at a time. Wake up, unplug, and rise.